And now we've gotten to Louis Vigliotti, aka Viggs. I literally met Louis in a Chick-fil-A restaurant when my dear friend from childhood, Jordan Johnson, picked me up, and I hadn't gotten to catch up with him, so I went on a ride along with him to go to his job of inspecting roofs and basically putting new ones on. So we stopped on the way back from Daytona Beach and had to use the restroom, just like I met Eric Michael Woods at a bathroom stall. And I was going through my blueprints for the Peace and Love Utopia with Jordan, and I felt this guy looking over my shoulder, and I turned around, I said, "Can I help you?" And turns out it was an architectural engineer with some real estate development contacts who was in the process of being approved for a hotel being built here in Florida, who had just gotten back from California, where he proceeded to literally stay on the street that I lived on for 4 years, doing all of this. That's all God. Louis came and checked out the Ocala drive-in shortly thereafter, met my mom. I got to meet his beautiful wife. We all went out for lunch, and well, the rest you can watch about in this Zoom call. So here in Florida, I got relationships in a manner as being somebody who pursued a film career for 20 years and has now come back home to my state, where there's not everybody that's in the film industry like there is in Los Angeles. So here I can move mountains in a manner that legacy, greed, and wealth cannot affect. All God.
Good morning.
Hello, my friends.
What's happening?
How you doing?
Doing pretty good. Just fighting the eyeballs, allergies here, man.
I
Killing me.
feel you. I feel you. I'm in Miami, down here to get together today over at FIU with my dear friend Paul Cuscieri, who wrote Cutthroat City, but also who is the main primary overseer of the IP of the trademark of Pulp Fiction with Lee Kaplan.
Okay. I
Lee
listened to your
is
message last night.
Yeah, so thank you. I didn't know what you got and what you didn't yet. So Lee is who introduced me to the group that basically is known as Malka Equities, who put up
Okay.
the money to pursue buying Paramount. And the whole reason why I did that in one of the first places was so we could make Pulp Fiction, because the IP has been at Paramount since they acquired the library from the Weinstein basically fallout. However, the trademark of that IP is owned by our group. So I announced the other night in a video that's going to go live on June 4th that I, as my final act of retiring as a film producer and moving forward on funding Pulp Fiction,
Mm-hmm.
the anthology drive-in series, and Paramount can't do anything about it because we own the trademark. And I'm taking Pulp Fiction and I am building an RV resort, hotel, and whole film studio experience in my hometown of Ocala, Florida. So we're building Lucille Studios, my dear friend, at the Ocala
And
Drive-In, themed after Pulp Fiction, and we'll get into that later. This is for you to let the fine folks, because where this Zoom call is going to go in a very long edited series of Zooms, damn near a whole 24 hours worth. I want the world to know who you are. If you can share how we met, literally the tubes in there that was on the table, and just talk about your background, because everyone hears me talk about movies a lot. I recorded a video yesterday standing behind the flea market, kind of on the land, saying that, thankfully you had not been around the film business, because as somebody, real estate investment development, had you been around, I don't know if this would have happened, but I have transitioned from that world. And, you and I are working together and what this adventure is going to be. And I would love for you to share who you are and how we got to
Sure.
today. Thank you, Luke.
So, Louis Anthony Vigliotti, aka Viggy. I am a licensed professional engineer, licensed general contractor, licensed plumbing contractor, and mechanical contractor. I am currently living in my hometown of Ormond Beach, Florida. Born and raised here, left in 2001 to go off to college. First started college at the University of South Florida in Tampa for architecture, where I also worked construction and decided that architecture wasn't my thing. So I switched to engineering and I moved up to Jacksonville, went to the University of North Florida, studied civil engineering, got a bachelor's in civil engineering, a minor in mathematics, and started working for the Florida Department of Environmental Protection as a wastewater engineer. Spent a couple of years working for them and took a position with the United States Army Corps of Engineers as a civilian and was given the opportunity to pursue a master's. So I did a master's degree at the University of North Florida as well in focusing in hydrogeology and um, took some courses from Old Dominion University in Virginia in coastal engineering. Wrapped that stuff up, worked for the Corps of Engineers in Jacksonville in their formerly used defense sites program. Basically, I cleaned up old bombs and groundwater contamination all over Florida until I took a position in Omaha, Nebraska, where I traveled throughout the US, basically doing emergency repair and maintenance on JP8 jet fuel facilities. I decided one day that I didn't want to work for the government anymore, so I asked my chief what, I could do to, send myself off in a nice way and make sure that I left in a proper manner. So he asked me if I'd go out to Denver, Colorado and work on a cost to complete effort for a VA hospital in Aurora, Colorado, which ended up being a $1.5 billion build. I ended up moving back to Ormond Beach, Florida in 2015, where I met my lovely wife, Ashley, and her son, Matthew. And we got married, started LAV engineering. I also run my dad's plumbing company, Lou's Plumbing, and we're moving and shaking. We have projects anywhere from the size of a small addition to a single family home to 188 home subdivision that I'm doing in New Smyrna Beach right now. I've got a 24-story hotel that I'm doing in the city of Daytona Beach on the beach. And we're the lead civil engineer, structural engineer, mechanical, electrical, plumbing engineers, and landscaping architects. And at the end of the day, we're licensed in almost every state in the country. And we've got a wonderful team built up of administrative staff, draftsmen, structural engineers, mechanical engineers, electrical engineers, architects, and I uh I love this stuff. I'm a nerd and I enjoy construction and I can't mind my own business. So one day I pulled up to Chick-fil-A to typically just go through the drive-through and I had to use the bathroom. So I went inside while I was waiting on my sandwich. I saw William and his buddy looking at a set of plans, and I couldn't keep to myself, so I had to walk up and ask these boys what they were building, and that's how our relationship started. And right now, while we're on the Zoom, I'm actually looking at the survey information for the Ocala Drive-In, and I'm looking at the city of Ocala's Muni Code library to get a better understanding of the existing zoning and the future use of the property to make sure that we can, in fact, do all the wonderful things that we want to do.
Thank you very much. Everybody's listened to me speak now for months on end, but I've had this vision of where this was going to go, even though I didn't quite see how it was. So moving forward, I'm not the one that's got to be doing a lot of the talking anymore. And I just, if you want to talk about, we don't need to get into specifics, but just, we had a very awesome dinner, your wife, my mom, and yourself, and it talked a little bit about the path and future ahead. Obviously, you have all of your own relationships too in these spaces. So if you kind of just want to talk about some of what you've seen, because we're in some, I guess, kind of modern day Walt Disney, and I'm using the names, man, because I went and stood out there and talked about this. But, kind of some of what you vision from this, from what I've talked about in the manner that I have, and also knowing where you're at and how you approach these things, what we can do starting with here in Ocala and some of the other spaces that I've shared with you that we're just getting underway on. But we've basically built a gridded studio private ecosystem that will change a literal industry overnight once we decide to move forward in this with everything we have in front of us. If you could.
Absolutely. So let's stick with the drive-in at the moment. One of the things that I think that we need to do first is, a desktop study of existing conditions, future uses, and just understand exactly what we're allowed to do on this property because things change over time. The original use of this property and the original setbacks for this property and lot characteristics from back in the day might be a little bit different than today. So we need to make sure we understand the code, basically. I think that we then need to come up with a high level concept of the intended, I'd say, evolution of the drive-in. And then we need to schedule a meeting with the city zoning and planning and managers. Typically, these are meetings that are held monthly and they're called technical review team committee meetings. And it's where we take an idea and we get the opportunity to present it to the county or the city of Ocala, whatever you want to, whoever the authority jurisdiction is. And we explain our vision and they tell us everything that they like about it and everything that they don't like about it. And then we go to the drawing board and start making things happen. So that's really where we're at with the drive-in. And
I love
then
it. I wanted to
to,
add on that. Sorry, Jordan, who was with me
yep,
when we met,
Jordan.
Jordan Johnson, very close with the mayor. I've already reached out to the mayor's office because I need to talk about this film festival for July to begin with. So I've started those inroads. So um, I'm gonna get Jordan's involvement on those connective points as well that you're talking about, just because he's got more city connections since I haven't spent too much time in Ocala in the last 20 years, but that's changing. And then also the other location that I was talking to you about that's over near downtown. So the drive-in would be the world's first ever RV resort with a film studio component. I want to build sound stages back behind where the flea market property is to specifically host, and I will pull this off and get all of this together. Basically, Pulp Fiction to allow people to come and stay at the RV resort. We don't have a set time period of what this series would be in the aspect of I can go between shooting in the city of Ocala and filming on the soundstage. I want to create a movie going experience around that IP specifically connected to brands and advertisers, but bringing the actual cinema to the front doorstep of tourists. And then practically walking distance, getting that other parcel of land that I talked to you briefly about to build what would
On the
be
corner.
on the corner, to build what would be the hotel experience after basically what you have at the drive-in. So you go and you partake, even the RVs could park and stay there. We have a system straight up like the Disney shuttles that go between hotel and RV park, and then it creates the entire start of said ecosystem. And I want to do that. And since we have the trademark on Pulp Fiction, that's what I'm focusing on right now. But the whole vision for this was to do exactly this, but license other IP as it relates to developing a tourist consumer hotel experience. and tie it all to like Jerry Lewis used to, was setting up bleachers to watch films being made. But we got a little bit more visionary currently, to proceed and all that. And if you want to talk, Lewis, about how, we're just now getting cooking on all this, you and I want to involve the other people that built all of this, because so much of this was about me seeing a vision, but walking into it to do with other people. And so that's the next phase of this, specifically Miss Jamie King, Sydney, Robert Russler, all these people that have relationships that are much bigger than mine, where to involve them in these next stages of design and building, and also meeting with certain city elements. Because I wasn't kidding. I literally had a vision to pick the gates of Hollywood up and move them somewhere else. And I think I can do that starting with my hometown here. So if you want to share a bit about that, because I've been calling some people out. So I expect that they're going to end up showing up here and coming to Ocala at some point. And then if you could talk about, I know you said, do you have a building that you're doing right now here in Miami also, where I currently am? Or are you working on?
No, I'm working with one of the top architects in Miami,
Got it.
Kobe Karp. They are the lead architect for the hotel, the Pearl Beach Club, that we're currently in the design process with in the city of Daytona Beach. And a project like this, a mega project, involves an architect, a civil engineer, structural engineers, mechanical, electrical, plumbing engineers, landscaping architects, and then a lot of other glue in between. And I'm the head of everything except for the architectural design, which is fine with me because I'm happy to collaborate with anybody to do anything anywhere in the world, whether I get a little piece of the pie or I get the whole thing. So it's all fun for me. And at the end of the day, we all have our different strengths and weaknesses, just like you do in your arena, and I do as far as the engineering and design and development arena.
Facts. Also, the situation that we have at Pineywood School, which we haven't even ventured on too much, you and I, but these would be brick and mortar studio locations, part one and part two. Um, I don't really want to talk too much about this because we're really just getting cooking based on having everything in front of us lined up. But uh, what would you like to share? Because I think this is enough of a taste. I've been telling everybody I have somebody who's like me, not me, in the space that would be needed in order to do this. So I'm letting the world see that that's you. We're also not too far off in age, you and I. So, I mean, this is a thing. I plan on doing this all around the world forever, because we have two brands, and taking Canyon Country Store global, not as a store business, yes, building stores in places too, but taking it global as a brand connected to 100 plus years of arts and entertainment and legacies. Um, Kind of what you think can be done on revolutionizing a space that, nobody's tried to do anything like this in quite some time. Really, the most comparable is probably Planet Hollywood. This is not that, and much more basically modern in the elements of connecting with the Gen Z crowd, but also tapping into things that their parents would have appreciated, right? So to kind of get into the idea side of this, but just if whatever you want to talk about and share, um, please do.
Are we talking about the reconfiguration and revitalization of existing structures in an area?
I think we're talking about building new structures that, are considered sort of modern human experience theme parks per se, and the
Okay.
aspect of what each one of these locations that we already have, from Houston to Owensboro to Mississippi, right? Specific environments that have singular experiences on the land, right? Connected to the IP, but that make up sort of an overall story, taking Love Street and building Love Streets connected to what the history and legacy of Canyon Country Store is, but building those in areas to where everything that we're building is connected to the culture and the culture points of each one of those specific areas, and kind of how that would look based on the team that you have, but also I think I'm trying to find the specific word, which I don't know if I really have right now, because so much of what I've been doing has been focused on, well, it was primarily focused on Pineywood School because that was a vision that I had to where I could get the IP for Paramount and then build a Paramount at Pinewoods. Now this has kind of been revitalized as even a blank canvas, meeting these people that were building these human experiences all over the world, sort of theme parks for people that are connected to spirituality, but also really like that movie Annihilation with the gardens and the structures and the flowers wrapped around all these things that I've been visualizing, just kind of the offset of moving forward, how we can do that. And then also, if you want to talk about, because I've been feeding people with film industry stuff left and right, some of the spaces that you're in, but also with partners that you're in those spaces, already connected to things that are going on way before you and I ever met. That if we put together this ecosystem and I'm bringing in this entertainment side based on worlds that you're already in, just the connectivity of this. Because, like I said, you and I didn't even seek each other out or go to meet. The
Right.
world brought us together. I think you have a firm understanding of that based on what you've walked, and I know on mine. And then even more so once our family literally was able to get together. So this that everybody's watching and what you and I are talking about right now is literally going to be the last thing that I play on a very long series of purely focused on entertainment industry meetings and people. And I wanted to bring in you who are not from that world to show not only the seriousness of this, but the activation of it moving forward. So I can start doing less of this and just more of presenting and getting other ideas and people involved, specifically as it relates to whatever we end up doing at the drive-in, which the focus right now is building a, let's call it smaller film studio, but perfect size for Ocala, Florida there. If that
Hmm.
makes sense, Lewis.
Sure. I don't know how far to go with this except for I just like meeting you randomly. I've kind of created a network that same way my whole entire life. Anytime I meet somebody, I try to understand what they're doing, why they're doing it, how they're doing it, and how I can, be involved with it because I just got to be, I need to be involved in everything for some reason. I love it. I just love construction. I love helping people. I love development. I love solving problems more than anything. And so I'm fortunate to have a team of people that have followed me for some reason or another. And the only thing that I can think of is that I make sure that people are taken care of, that they're paid more than most people get at different firms, that they're not just a number, and that they get to be involved in fun projects. And right now, I've got people working for me in New York and Texas and Tennessee and New Jersey and Florida and California and and Colorado. I mean, I've got the whole country kind of uh, freckled with, my presence and my staff's presence. And we're just one big team that gets it done. I think, one of the most key factors that we have is that our communication is bigger and better than anybody else out there. We get a hold of everybody every single day. We always beat our schedule and we always stay within budget, even if we have to take a haircut on something. So, you know, I can talk about business all day long, but
Yeah.
at the end of the day, you know, what what drives me is the people around me that have the visions, the developers, even if it's somebody that's got a single family home that they want to build, that's a little job in the grand scheme of things. But whether it's somebody who wants to develop a single family home or an RV park or a theme park, a golf course, a 24-story hotel, a resort in Mexico, uh, taking a structure that has been dilapidated for 30 years and bringing it back to life. It doesn't matter what it is, we can do it. And I've done, I don't know, probably close to 7,000 different projects in the last 10 years, ranging in all different sizes. And I've had the fortunate background to be able to work for state and federal government. So, I mean, I just get it. I understand how all this stuff works, and I'm excited to be involved in every bit of it. And I have a team that's ready to jump on anything that presents itself.
That was absolutely beautiful and perfect. And I mean, I don't have, you just summed up, exactly where this is heading. So both you and I saw something connective together, and now we're venturing in those waters. And for my lack of understanding of space, you got me, and vice versa. So
I'm
um,
ready to set sail.
thank you for taking the time. Thanks for powering through too after you were selling, got a little seasick. And I just, since we met, even there's been a little bit of chaotic pivots here and there, and both of our timelines, unexpectedly, but understandably with this.
Oh yeah.
So, just thanks for jumping into this with me and getting me started, and also, wanting to be there to see this all through. So, I'm gonna finalize all these steps. I'm in Miami right now. I may call you or send you a couple audio messages when I'm with Paul. And then at
Hmm.
some point, we'll have a meeting with one and only Lee Kaplan. But when I head back to Ocala this evening, um, or tomorrow morning. Haven't decided yet. I got a couple other meetings here in Miami. We're moving forward on everything with Mr. John Watsky. And it starts with this first movie that you're also in the deck for. At the end of what I'm going to put up on June 4th has everybody that's basically connected to the first film, because I'm taking the Pulp Fiction trademark and I'm doing Pulp Fiction Presents on a specific piece of IP that I'm going to direct. And we're going to start this whole new era of cinema originating literally from Ocala, Florida, and other connected legacy points of all these co-CEOs that are trying to change the game with the world's first ever nonprofit film studio. That's what we're doing. And then everybody that owns a piece of the nonprofit film studio to lead and build this fund and push this forward, a fund that's being structured by the financial partners. Well, um, there's also an ad agency and a real estate investment arm. And so I've created an idea that works a lot more than just an idea for essentially this 360-degree ecosystem with the foundation and nonprofits, to where the basically nonprofit is powered by businesses that are for profit and advertising and real estate that kind of make this whole ecosystem go, and it's overseen by the entire group of collective minds involved. So you're at the top on the sort of, engineering and real estate arm of that. And probably sometime beginning of June, towards the end of that first week, I'll start setting up some Zoom calls within your schedule for you to meet some of these other people connected all over, if that's okay.
Let's do it.
Awesome. Thank you, brother, for
All
everything.
right, buddy.
And just I'll be in touch over the next few days.
Sounds good. Have a good time in Miami, and I'll talk to you the
Thanks,
next day or
Lewis.
so.
Thank you, my man.
Peace.
Blessings. Bye.